Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you, and thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Siempre line of tequilas. We have the Blanco, the Reposado, and the Añejo to review today. The Blanco, well, they're all bottled at 40% ABV, so 80 proof. The Blanco is unaged, as you'd expect. It is, I guess it comes up to still around 100 proof, and I think they bring it down to about 80 using volcanic spring water. And then we have the Reposado, aged about 6 months, has a little bit of Extra Añejo tequila added in before being bottled. And then we have the Añejo. The Añejo is rested about 24 months in ex-bourbon barrels before being bottled. Now, let's see, what else do we need to know about these? I would say that's pretty much about it. I mean, they use roller mills, so there's not like any old Tejona or lava rock crushed or anything fancy like that. This is just roller mill tequila coming from the Del Valle distillery. Now that distillery produces a lot of brands. You know, like I've mentioned before in a lot of my videos, that's not uncommon. A lot of tequila distilleries will do that. They do more than one brand. So this is one. El Padrino is another Total Wine brand. That's a tequila that's made at this distillery as well. So if you like El Padrino, you're probably going to like Siempre. Alright, but let's go ahead and get to the nosing on the Blanco. And we'll go ahead and nose, I guess we'll do, yeah, we'll nose them all and then we'll taste them. Alright, here we go. Really nice, kind of a good combination of a buttery tone, a sour tone of the fermentation process, and a little citrus oils. So think buttery, fresh agave, it's almost floral. Slightly vegetal, that's what leans into that sour tone. Kind of like a sour plum is what I would describe this one as. Maybe like a yeast roll. Little cinnamon, little bit of a white pepper. And a little bit of a raw sugar cane coming through here. That's not uncommon. Again, I've talked about this many times, but vegetal agave, it kind of has that reminiscent character of sugar cane because it's vegetal. It's sweet, but it's vegetal. And then when it starts getting roasted up and it starts getting cooked, it starts getting kind of yummy. All right, Siempre Reposado. Here we go. Now we're starting to see that now it's been in oak for 6 months. We're getting a lot of vanilla tone. It has a little bit of Extra Añejo involved, so it's probably seen a little more oak than was traditionally expected. But I would call this one vanilla, cherries, baked apples, cinnamon. What is that one? It's almost like toffee. There's a little bit of a nuttiness, chocolate, and kind of a cinnamon roll aspect. Still a hint of the sourness from the Blanco. The butteriness of the Blanco is still here. Very, very nice. Alright. Alright. Here we go with the Añejo. Let me coat it. Okay, interesting. The sourness still comes through. That is strange. Let me go right back here. It's actually more sour than the Repo. It's more sour than the Blanco. And what I mean by sour here is this one actually reminds me of a malt vinegar. Interesting. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's almost like a beer characteristic. Honey, it's a little bit of a mead. So cherries, baked apples here, brown sugar, pears, little hint of a lemon oil still, even in this one. But that malty character is pretty unique. That one's more about the vanilla, and this one's more about the butter and the citrus. Yeah, really nice. All right, let's get to the tasting. Here we go. Blanco, Siempre. Oh yeah, apples for sure. It almost, when initial intake, was like thinking like, almost like apple juice. Good solid medium viscosity. Again, it is more apple forward. The citrus is in there. It's kind of like a lemon lime characteristic. The apples, and there's a hint of pear, but not a lot. Mostly about apple being forward. The freshness of that agave is still coming through onto the mid palate. There's a little bit of that buttery sourness leaking through onto the mid palate. Cracked pepper is in there, white pepper. Matter of fact, I'll go pink peppercorns on this one, because that floral aspect is kind of reminiscent of that character. Pink peppercorns, a little bit of cinnamon. Focuses a little more even on that citrus oils on the back end. But overall, really enjoyable. Matter of fact, like I said, I'm always looking for kind of a buttery tone in tequilas. That's a really well done Blanco. I'm not picking up, I'm trying to take the inhalations and slowly breathe it out to see if I'm picking up any kind of like a bad alcohol, rubbing alcohol. And I'm not picking it up on this batch. This is a good one. And I think each one has a lot number on here, and I'll put that in the descriptor. So if you want to see exactly which lot I'm reviewing here, I'll put that in there. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't even read that, to be honest with you. All right, here we go. Moving on to the Reposado. Yeah, this one almost reminds me on the nose of like Casa Nobles. The Casa Noble Añejos or Reposados back in the day. They had that amount of vanilla. All right, here we go. Wow. Medium viscosity. It's lost a little bit of the butter that the Blanco has. It still has a little bit of a butterscotch vanilla vibe to it on the flavor profile. Cinnamon and the white pepper, this is white pepper, pick up a little bit of strength on that mid palate. Falls off right back on that big heavy natural vanilla bean, Madagascar vanilla beans. That's rolling. A little hint of cedar and oak, and I bet that cedar's coming off that Extra Añejo. But wow, the vanilla bean, it comes off heavy. And again, that's why the nose remind me of those Casa Nobles, because that's how those were. Yeah, the fruit component, the vegetalness is gone. Now we're getting into that baked caramelized agave, because we're more on the brown sugar. We're more on the heavily, like, not bananas foster, but think apples with brown sugar. Cooked really well, cooked down a lot. That's what we're getting here. Just a real subtle hint of a floralness to the agave. A little touch of earthiness as well. And I think that actually helps it because it's not so heavy on that vanilla. It is, I mean, what I mean is it's very heavy on the vanilla, but it's not so focused on the vanilla because there's a little bit of that earthiness, and that, I think that's from the Extra Añejo. That's helping that out. All right. Good viscosity though so far. I think this one's a little more buttery than even the Repo, but the Repo has that ton of that vanilla. So the Añejo, yeah, it still has a little bit of that maltiness. It's actually starting to air out a little bit. Yeah, it's focusing way more on the vanilla now. So I would say this bottle probably needs a little bit of oxidation, or if you're going to pour it and if you notice that maltiness right up front, give it a few minutes and it's going to clear out. Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, this is more vanilla butterscotch here on the Repo, and the Añejo, it's getting a little more back into that real natural buttery tone. Brown sugars, baked, I would say baked plums, baked apples, and baked cherries in this one. A little touch of orange oil. Alright, anyway, let's get back to the taste. Alright, here we go. Medium high viscosity. Matter of fact, I think that's every bit as viscous, if not more so, than even the Blanco. But I will say it doesn't taste like when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about how rich it feels. Sometimes I immediately start thinking about the agave nectar, because sometimes they'll use agave nectar in barrels. In this one, if they're using it, it's very, very minute, and it's very well integrated. There's a lot of, when I was thinking baked plums, baked cherry, that's in there, almost like brandy cherries, that's in here. The agave still comes through. I'm still tasting the agave though. That's what's really great about this one. You can still focus and find the agave, and it's a little vegetal, little floral. Again, they start getting that sweet potato casserole type element when they get really baked. That's in there. Big vanilla. That's great. That's really enjoyable. At only about $55, solid añejo. Again, I'll put the lot numbers on each one in the descriptor, so hopefully you can find the exact lot so you can pretty much know what to expect. But I have a feeling, since I didn't really find any flaws in any of these, more than likely, and I don't imagine they're the same batch, to be honest, more than likely they're going to all be pretty similar to this. Now there's even a little bit of a dark chocolate and coffee bean almost element on the back end of that one. Anyway, thank you as always for joining me here on YouTube and Patreon. Of course, my patrons get this video 2 weeks before everyone else. So if you can, join me over at patreon.com/LiquorHound. And if not, I welcome and still appreciate everybody here on YouTube. Keep leaving all those great comments, and I'll get back to them just as soon as I can. Everyone have a great day, and cheers.